It was a little over 7 years ago when I was getting used to being on daily talk radio and trying to find my way. How much did I want to talk about politics? How much did I want to weigh in on other issues? How much theology, et cetera, that I began to talk about the candidates running for Democratic presidential nomination, Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, Republican nomination, John McCain, others. I took exception to something John McCain had said. Then one day I took exception to something Barack Obama had said. The second time I took exception to something that he had said, a caller called an African-American woman, and she said, "Why do you have to bring up race all the time?" And I said, "What do you mean?" She said, "You're always bashing Barack Obama." I said, "Well, first, I've only mentioned him by name twice, and I mentioned John McCain the other day." I said, "But I like the political views of Alan Keyes. He's black, but I don't like the views of Barack Obama. It has nothing to do with skin color." I said, "I prefer the political views of Sarah Palin to Hillary Clinton. It has nothing to do with who's a woman, who's not a woman." I said, "Race is not the issue here." But then other callers said, "Why do you always have to bring up race? You talk about Barack Obama." I said, "I'm not bringing up race. It's the last thing I'm thinking about." So I realized, okay, this is an issue. I need wisdom in how to address it, how to gain the confidence of my listeners that race is not the issue to me. But now we have a very fascinating situation here. The media is aggressively and in certain ways ridiculously going after Dr. Ben Carson. And yet I'm not hearing people say the same way, well, it's because of race. You're only going after him because he's black. You're only going after him because he's black. Look, Marco Rubio, people are going after his finances. Is that because he's Hispanic? Or is it because of conservative values that these people hold to, or Christian values that they hold to? Are those the other issues involved? And the media, the mainstream media, which is predominantly liberal and left-wing and sometimes in extreme ways, is going to go after these things. But either way, here's my big question, and I'm wondering about this out loud. Why is it racial if you differ with Barack Obama? If I have a problem with the president's policies, why do I have to tiptoe on that for fear of someone is going to think that I'm doing it for racial reasons? God knows it's the last thing on my mind. And I really wanted to be able to vote for our first African-American president, but I couldn't in good conscience, knowing what his radical policies would be if he was elected. And I'm endorsing Senator Ted Cruz for president. But as I wrote, if it ended up that Dr. Ben Carson was a candidate, I'd gladly vote for Dr. Carson and share so many of his values and beliefs and convictions and things like that. But please hear me. Why is it that the same media and others that said you attack Barack Obama, it's race, now they freely attack Ben Carson, Dr. Ben Carson, both of his parents are black and who had arguably a more typical African-American upbringing than Barack Obama did and suffered some of the hardships that other African-Americans do that Barack Obama didn't suffer. So why is it not race when he is being attacked? I had a black pastor tell me that because he endorsed Republican candidates and because he had strong conservative moral values in politics as well that put him in the Republican camp, he was told he was not black enough. So is blackness a matter of color, or is it a matter of cultural issues and cultural? I think we need to sort that out, and we need to call the media to account for its double standard. And yes, Dr. Carson had every right to say, how is it you're going after me about the most minor things in my own account, which are accurate overall? You're going after me, but the president's records, his college records, are still sealed to this day. Could you imagine that? Something is just uneven. And I'm telling you, it's got nothing to do with color. It's got everything to do with ideology.